Way. Welcome to all members of the public who are here. We also welcome our Fire Chief Willis. She'll be presenting to us this evening. Also welcome Commissioner Kamalu has joined us this evening. And let me think, who's here from the animal shelter? Here's our animal shelter presenters. What's your name?
Michelle Hicks.
You're Michelle. Okay, welcome Michelle. We'll be hearing from her too. So thanks all in attendance and to the council. Mark Cottrell is excused tonight. He's out of town. So we will call it to order. This is a regular meeting of the Fruit Heights City Council. Did somebody say Jeannie? Did I miss something? Tuesday, August 18th, 910 South Mountain Road. And we will begin with a Pledge of Allegiance, which I will lead. Then we'll have a prayer or a thought provided by Gary, and then proceed to roll call. Please join me and stand. Please begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity to meet as a city council and having our residents come and participate in our meeting. We ask thee to bless us as we go throughout our meeting tonight and our agenda, that we will have thy guidance and that we will have a spirit of cooperation and learning. We ask for thy favors, thy blessings in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Gary. Haley, roll call.
Councilmember Gary Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Mark Cottrell.
Excused.
Councilmember David Hill.
Here.
Councilmember Eileen Moss.
Here.
Councilmember Blake Winslow.
Here.
Mayor Jeannie Groberg.
Here. Thank you. Number 2 is declaration of conflicts of interest. Having looked over the agenda, are there any council members who should declare a conflict of interest this evening? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, we'll go to reports. Council reports. I never remember which end we started with last time, but I'm going to start here. Do you have any report for us tonight, David?
Nothing to report this time.
Okay, very good. Gary?
Nothing to report. Lots of emails and stuff to go over, but nothing to go over here.
Great. Eileen?
I don't really have anything tonight, thank you.
Okay. Blake?
Yeah, I've just got one thing to report on with the Legislative Policy Committee. We're in the interim session right now for the next today and tomorrow, and a number of pieces of legislation that will be affecting, proposed. Put a big old asterisk next to it. We don't know for sure how things will proceed forward, but a number of things in the land use space that we'll be watching closely and see how they proceed forward, but nothing to report on that side today. But other than that, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you. And for everybody's information, the Utah League is our strongest lobbying effort and group that we belong to at the Hill. And Blake and myself and Darren attend all the regular meetings, but Blake has the extra mile and volunteered to be on this housing subcommittee. So he is doing a great job representing our little city in those talks. Thank you, Blake. Our mayor report, be brief. I want to recognize we had an employee of 26 years with the city who is retiring. I think actually as of the 1st of September, right? We had a little farewell kind of congratulations and thank you party this last week for Ted Perry. And if any of you know him, he's been working most recently on our storm drains. I think started in parks and has done many things. Am I right on that, Darren? Throughout the 26 years, and so just a public note of appreciation for him. He's not one who likes to be up here and personally stand and get that attention, but I want to publicly recognize and thank him. So thank you, Ted, for your service and your hard work for our city all these many years. Also, just by way of information for the public, an email that just came in tonight from Blake Moore's office, our congressman. He will be conducting town halls in our county in the next several days. I really only paid attention to the Davis County one, which is Thursday, this Thursday if you'd like to go to talk with him, ask him something, whatever you'd like to. It's in Clearfield, and I'm sure that information can be found easily on his website. But for the record here, I'll state it's in Clearfield this Thursday from 12 to 1:30 at the Clearfield Arts Center, 140 Center Street in Clearfield, if you'd like to make contact with our congressman. That is all I'm going to say for my report tonight. We'll get on to staff reports. Elaine.
Geneva Rock, they've started the street maintenance project. They've lowered all the collars. They'll be here the beginning of next week to start milling the roads and then start paving them mid next week. So it's going, and it should be completed by September 15th.
Awesome. Are you speaking of all the roads that were in that project
Yes.
at the
Yep.
same time?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody probably that lives on those are sort of aware
Yeah,
by
yeah,
this point.
They've delivered flyers and
Yeah,
everything. So
for sure they're aware, obviously, but they can see things happening
Yeah.
right now. So great. Sounds good. Thanks
Yep.
for that update. Darren?
I was just going to let the council know that I'm starting to prepare for the audit. That will be starting next month, most likely, the middle of next month.
You're
So,
like, oh, good. Is that
Yeah.
time already?
Yeah, so that'll be getting ready to happen, so.
You're either in an audit or you just finished one. There's not much of a break in between, right? Feels like, anyway. Great. Thank you.
And then the one other thing
Yeah.
is we do have the pickleball courts out for bid right now, so.
Okay, we will hopefully probably have that as an item next time, possibly, actually. What's the timing
what
on
is the
that?
first meeting in September?
The
what's-
1st of September.
It'll have to be the second meeting in September.
Okay, because the bids have to be out a certain length.
Yeah, the open bid is on the 3rd of September, so.
Okay, all right, so the other 2 meetings for that one. Thank you. All right, proceeding to number 4, public comment period. This is a period where any member of the public may address the council, and we will listen. There are, or it may be, you may address council on any topic, whether on the agenda or not. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We limit the entire public comment period to 30 minutes at the most. But unless every single one of you wants to get up tonight, we probably won't have a challenge with that. But please limit to 3 minutes, and please state your name and address as you begin. The public comment period is now open if you would like to address the council. Commissioner Kamalu. Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Mayor Groberg and council and everyone attending tonight. Right here is our animal care director, Michelle Hicks. She's fantastic. Here's the office manager of animal care. Happy for them to be here tonight with you, and they'll talk more. I can't stay the whole time. I'm going to leave some of my cards, which have my cell phone on it. So I'm one of the 3 county commissioners. I live close. I even do dog walking up in this area and bike rides up in this area, so I live really close. You can reach out to me anytime on any subject of the county. You can text me to my cell phone and share your name and share what the topic is that you have questions about, and I can text you back, and I can also call you, and we can find a time you can come into my office in the county building too. I meet with folks. I love that. I think local government is a big deal. That's where we get most all of our services, is through our city and through our county. So I have even family who lives in Fruit Heights. Some people have heard me say that before. You're a special community. So to not take much time, really truly take advantage of my card. If we run out of cards, then Mayor Groberg has my cell. I know Councilmember Moss has my cell. I'm pretty public with my cell because it's never been really abused in a bad way. People have genuine interest, and I love that. So anyway, thank you again for your service. Thanks for being a great community. I appreciate Fruit Heights very much, the sister city to Kaysville.
Thank you.
I'll put the cards over here.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, seeing no other members of the public who would like to speak, we will go on to number 5, presentations. 5.1 is animal care of Davis County. So please come forward and share your presentation with us.
Thank you for Heights for having me. My name is Michelle Hicks. I'm the Animal Care Director. I've been working there for a full year now, so I'm wet behind the ears. If I do more puns, bad animal puns, just bear with me. It's part of the job, right? Michelle, so two Michelles, our office manager is here. She's actually a Fruit Heights resident and wanted to come today and share in this presentation with us. So we'll just go ahead and go through it. If there's any questions, please let me know, but it's kind of an overview, but if you need me to get down into some of the numbers, I'm happy to do so. So our core community service is our pet adoption, owner surrenders, our field enforcement, volunteer and foster programs. Normally here I would put community cats, but you guys don't seem to have a community cat problem, or if you do, we just haven't heard about it yet. But we put in pet food pantry in there, and then emergency readiness, which I can talk about a little bit further. On the pet adoption, is really easy. Residents can go to our website or our Facebook at ACDC Pets or come into our shelter. We make it really easy on saying yes. We make behavior notes every time an animal's in our care every day. We make some kind of behavior note, whether it's with a volunteer or one of our shelter attendants. And so that helps us kind of guide the adoption process with people that are coming in to view the animals and learn more about them. We offer trials with the animals, so we want to make sure that this is a appropriate match, not just for the people, but for the animal as well. So we offer weekend wags, where a resident can take home the dogs for a weekend, a couple of days, and figure out them in their home, and if they, get along with the resident animals, if they're getting along with the children. And so we really like that program, and to try not to get so many adoption returns where we have them test out. It's like a library book. We check them out, and they can be checked back in, or they can be adopted at that time. And we can also offer assisted meet and greets. So there are oftentimes that there's another animal in the home, another dog in the home. Say they're adopting a dog, they can come up to our shelter and we can assist the meet and greet between dogs. We don't do cat testing because we never know how that's going to work, and currently in our shelter it just doesn't make good sense. We don't have kind of a space for that. We do our adoption. Every dog or cat adopted with us receives a spay and neuter, a microchip, their vaccines, and a free year license through our partner DocuPet. And adoption fees are anywhere from $25 for small critters up to $200 for puppies, and kind of anywhere in between. Our owner surrenders, not every municipal shelter takes in owner surrenders. It's not actually a requirement by law, but Davis County has, that's part of the, service that we provide, and I think it's appropriate service that we provide, where owners can, for whatever reason, surrender their pets to us. We do like it to be scheduled, just to make sure we're making, we don't have too many animals coming in at the same time, or we're not overloaded with animals. So we do like that scheduled. But it's just really to manage the intake. It is a judgment-free zone. We're not judging them when they come in and need to surrender their pets. We have Hill Air Force Base on there. A lot of the times if they're moving, cities or even states, that they can't bring their animal with us, so that we take in owner surrenders there. But there's a number of reasons. Housing is a big one that we try to do. Health conditions. There are people that end up in the hospital or, have a kind of a catastrophic incident. And so we always want to make sure it's kind of a judgment-free zone and we're just managing the intake. There are, our owner surrender fee is $45, very manageable, and it just helps with some of the costs when the animal gets brought in. And then if there are services or resources that we can provide the person before owner surrendering and after, if they need housing stability, or say that they want to surrender an animal because they think they have to go to the hospital for a month and they don't have anybody to take care of their animal, we also have resources. We partner with an organization called Rough Haven, which actually takes their animals in longer term than we can provide, and so there's lots of resources that we can provide the residents. Community pet support is our primary goal. We want to make sure that the pets are healthy and in their homes. Can you go to the slide one more up for me? Thank you. And we want to make sure that they are, properly cared for, and a lot of the way we do that is through field enforcement. I'll get into the numbers in a little bit, but part of our field enforcement, we have 10 community animal care officers, one of those being a community cat officer that go over into the entire county. And so a lot of that is making sure that we're doing welfare checks or nuisance calls, or, somebody's dog is barking too much. Our animal care officers will actually go out there, make sure that the animal has food and water, make sure that the animal owner has resources if they need it. And then, talk to, specifically on the barking calls, we'll talk to the person who's made the complaint. If it's something we need to, provide bark boxes for, or some other kind of resources, we also provide that. We have a great volunteer and foster program. I'll talk a little bit more at the end, and our emergency readiness. So prior to really a week ago, we didn't have an emergency coordinator in our shelter totally focused on pets, not just the pets that we have in the shelter, but pets that are in the homes of all of you and all of your residents. And so hopefully, with this new position, we are going to be able to, work with the emergency operations director at the Davis County level. There'll be state resources and all that other stuff that comes along with that. So hopefully by the next time I come back, we'll give you more information kind of about our plan and our SOPs on that stuff. So that's great.
I actually have a question about
Please.
that. So is it the intent that, like, if there's let's say a wildfire in the area, that this person would go in and actually contact people, make sure that their like livestock and pets are taken care of?
It will be a livestock and pets. And so we need to be able to house those animals. So there was a fire up in Fruit Heights not too long ago. It thankfully was shut down very quickly, so that was great. But yes, so we'll have places for them to go, or optional sites where they'll be able to take the animals into this optional site until they can figure out what to do, or where they're going, or that kind of stuff. Or if it's just for the night, just in what do they call it, when you just evacuate really quickly, and hopefully help with that, but also get them resources to where their animals need to go. There was an organization that actually gave the Red Cross a really good monetary donation recently, and so we're hoping to tap into that as well. But yes, resources for all of those incidences. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, we can move to the next one. Oh, we're going to get onto that with the next page. Thank you. Yeah. So our pet food pantry, people are struggling. There's a lot going on. And so if we can take kind of one thing off their list, we try to do that. Say that they don't have enough money or access to and from someplace. We have a pet food pantry that's entirely donation-based. We have an Amazon wish list that people can donate food from, or a lot of the times people are just bringing it in. And if you need help for the month or a couple of months, please come in. We'll get you a bag of dog food, cat food, and make sure that the animal gets kind of the care that they need while you're kind of going through that hard time.
Are those needs all met through donations?
The pet food?
Pet food
Yes,
pantry.
all through donations. So we have actually a fantastic community that I don't even know. We called because we were running out of blankets and towels, and we use blankets and towels all day, every day. And the amount of blankets and towels that we got was insane. Like, our entire attic is filled right now, and like the shelter attendants are folding everything up and making sure that so we're going to be good on blankets and towels for like a year. So we don't, currently we don't need any of those.
No more of those.
Yes, so. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a fantastic community. So our lost and found directory, if you ever come across a lost animal, or if you lost your animal, we have a great directory. So if the animals that come into our shelter that are strays, we post them all over the internet. We post them on our Facebook page. And we have this great community that kind of just shares them in all of the little ancillary neighborhood Facebook pages as well. And then we have great website that also you can go and post your lost dog or post a found dog or cat or animal that people will be able to kind of review that. What I will say though is that those are great. There's nothing wrong with coming into the shelter just to get an eye on all of the pets there. Because somebody may have gotten a bad picture or there's, not the right side, because I'm like, I know my dog has a black splotch on the left, the left cheek, but it's a picture on the right cheek. So there's nothing wrong with coming into the shelter just to do a quick view of that. And then I've already kind of talked about emergency response. Okay, we can go to the next. And these are kind of your guys' stats for Fruit Heights specifically. And this is specifically with our field services team. So all of our animal care officers, this is what they're doing in your community. It comes up to about 1.5% of the services that the ACOs do, and you guys are about, if the math was correct, and I'm not saying that it was, but you guys are about 1.5% of our duties with Fruit Heights, and I think per capita that sits about right.
So how long is this period?
This is actually from January to June of this year.
Okay, 6 months.
6 months, correct. So we've had 7 adoptions, 22 bite investigations. That's actually your top metric. That is not unusual. That's pretty much the top metric for every city as we were doing this, so that is not unusual. 15 park patrols, and that number is probably a little bit higher. If you notice our nuisance calls, about halfway through the beginning of the year, we were putting park patrols in the nuisance calls, but that didn't make sense. It wasn't a nuisance. And so we kind of pulled that one out, and now it's just specifically to our park patrols.
What's the difference between a nuisance call and a park patrol?
Nuisance calls are like barking, somebody's walking without a leash, the residents calling in about another animal that's kind of being a nuisance to them, whether it's in their neighborhood, in their park, or anything like that.
So not a bark, because I
A
thought
park,
you
a
said,
park patrol,
park.
park patrol.
Yes.
Oh, park
Oh, sorry.
patrol.
Yes.
I thought
Yeah.
you said
Yeah.
park patrol.
Bark.
Oh, no, park. Yes, sorry.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
But a park patrol is not as a result of a phone call. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Park
It's
Patrol,
not-
they actually go to your parks and your trails and actually see people, talk to people that have their dogs in the parks. We'll get to it a little bit later, but there are times when dogs are off leash or they're running the trail off leash or anything like that. So that's what we try to get out and educate the general public on those things during the park patrols. So you'll notice that we've had 7 adoptions, but also 7 owner surrenders. That's also not uncommon. And to have kind of adoptions and owner surrenders around the same amount in the smaller cities. Animal versus animal is actually when animals are fighting each other. And then owner assists, so we'll go to the person's home and help them if they need help taking a dog into a car or getting them to a vet or having them come up to the shelter. That's kind of the owner assist. Wellness checks is somebody's just calling and saying, I don't think this dog has water, or I don't think that this animal's being well taken care of. So that's a wellness check. Agency assists is when officers will call us and to help with something on scene, whether it's a car accident, a DUI, or an unfortunate situation in the home. That's kind of where our agency assist comes, and again, community cats at 0%. What I will say is, our shelter is in Fruit Heights, so you guys have 100% shelter access. It's super close. It's super nice that we're in your backyard. I personally love it. Can't beat the view from my office that I don't let anybody else see. It's my view. So. This is just kind of a quick distribution of the services versus the county and kind of some percentages on that. Small footprint, high access, and we have focused field responses for that, so.
Does your officers do anything with wild animals like raccoons or things like that?
We are specifically the laws surrounding wildlife is not ours to take on. We are specifically companion animals only. I do have information. Raccoons is something that we used to do, but there are many, many reasons why we don't do raccoons, and I'm happy to kind of share those talking points with you all. I don't have them here with me. But no, wildlife calls, we would forward them to the DWR, thank you, Division of Wildlife Resources. Okay. So, yeah. All right, we can move on to
Can
the
I
next.
ask one little question?
Yeah.
What I'm reading here on your bar that says small footprint, high access says the 1.5% of total, et cetera, from having the main county shelter located within city limits. Does that mean there are satellite shelters?
There are not satellite
okay,
shelters.
just
Yeah,
wanna
it's
check.
just
I
that
wasn't aware
the
of
shelter
any,
is
but-
here.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, of
All right.
course. Cute picture of Prince Ali. That's actually his adoption photo. He's so cute. I was actually so surprised that that cat stayed as long as it did. I was like, how is nobody adopting this cat? Anyway, this is about city events and employee engagement, and it's just a call for you all. We're happy to come to community events if you have a Founder's Day, if you guys have I know they're doing like Night Out Against Crime, anything like that that you wish us to be a part of, we're happy to be there. We would love to do 1 or 2 events with each city each year. And so anything that we can kind of be a partner on or kind of come to, we're happy to do that. Have a resource table, do an adoption event, anything like that. The other is employee snuggle time. If you guys want us to bring kittens or dogs, they will all be adoptable as well. But if you want us to come to do an event or a employee engagement event, or if you guys, we have had some agencies reach out that they want to come in and walk dogs as a team or anything like that, we're happy to accommodate anything like that. So.
Darren, you ready for a snuggle break with a cat or a dog or whatever? Lizard? I don't know.
If you want to wait till next April where the kitten season
That's
is back,
interesting.
we're happy to do that as well.
I did
so.
not know that was something you did. so-
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The next one. So this is just kind of a recommendation. So when we're out doing park patrols, I've asked our ACOs to kind of look around at the park, see the signage, see if there's way stations. A lot of the times when they're going out to educate the animal owners, they'll be like, well, there was no sign. And so that was like a big thing that they've mentioned. And so I had my officers kind of do a broad search of all of the parks in Davis County. And the 2 that they had talked about kind of trying to recommend is Nichols Park, where the city website states dogs are allowed, but there's no physical signage on state indicating that dogs must be kept on a leash. And that's something that they talk about, well, they didn't say anywhere, and I didn't notice it anywhere, even though I think for
It's a
all of the parks,
countywide-
it's a
I think it's a
countywide
countywide
ordinance, yeah.
ordinance.
So residents aren't looking at ordinances, though, they are looking at signs. I would also say that if there are way stations, if there are not way stations, we should provide way stations for them. It's just an easier way, make it as easy as possible for them to pick up after their animals when they are in the parks. And the other one was Castle Park, and that there are no signs posted at all regarding whether animals are permitted, and there are currently no way stations available there. And we couldn't find on the website whether dogs were allowed at that park either. And so just wanted to mention that.
By a way station, you mean little doggy bag?
Little doggy
station?
bags in a garbage can. So,
Yeah, that's an ongoing topic for several
yeah.
individuals. in our
It's
city.
honestly one of the main complaints that we get is that people are there and they're stepping in all of the fun
Like,
things.
you see the baggies all along the path.
There's a
Personally,
lot
I'm
of
like,
that too.
You got a dog, take
Yeah.
care of the bag, you know?
That's
So-
part of being a responsible pet owner, right? Is making sure that you're cleaning up after your animal. Because honestly, we don't want to be the bad guys, and we don't want to have to talk to you about picking up your dog excrement. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Anyway.
that's part of the responsibility of being a pet owner. You
Yes.
take care of it and don't leave it out there for other people to.
Correct.
Okay.
So becoming a foster or volunteer, we actually have a robust foster program and a volunteer program. We have fosters that foster dogs, cats, snakes. We had a bearded dragon, birds, pigeons, parakeet, like the list goes on and on. So what the foster program is that, regular residents will bring in a dog or a cat into their home. kind of get them away from the shelter space. There are some animals that do not do well in shelters. There's some animals that rock it. They're totally fine being in a shelter. They love hanging out with all the other animals, but there are some animals that just can't take it. And so that's where fosters come into play. And we have a foster coordinator that's amazing, and she does really, really well and kind of, has this family kind of dynamic with all of them. We have mentors that they're part on this Facebook page that if somebody's having a problem with a cat or a dog, there's other mentors that can kind of jump in and share information, so that's great. On the volunteer side, we have volunteers that come in and do enrichment. We have a gentleman that comes in 5 days a week and walks dogs for 2.5 hours every morning. That's his kind of exercise for the day. And so we have lots of things that we do with volunteers. This is actually 2025 numbers, but in 2025, the Fruit Heights residents specifically did a little under 300 hours of volunteer work. This does not include the foster program. This just is specific to volunteers. So it's easy onboarding and full support. We'd love to have you if you're interested. And then other ways that you can get involved without doing, specific foster or volunteers, you can go to the next page, thank you, are our sniff-a-bouts and weekend wags. So sniff-a-bouts, you come in, and these are specific to dogs, these are not cats, but the sniff-a-bout, you come in, again, the checkout, library book, check out a dog for about an hour. You can go get them pup cups, you can go to Lowe's, you can take them on a walk, you can take them on a trail. We'll affix them with a cute little adopt me, and people talking them and getting kind of out of the shelter for the day. And then our weekend wags. It doesn't always have to lead to adoption. It could just be you wanting to get the dog out of the shelter for the weekend, right? A couple of days. Do you do that?
Sorry. That's what I thought too, and then I went about a week ago and I was told that it's only if you're interested in adopting, and then so thank you for
That is inaccurate, yeah. So it doesn't mean that you have to adopt the dog afterwards. You might want to, we call those foster fails, but if you do, anyway. But it does not have to be a weekend, it's any couple of days, yeah. So that's our cute little Dill, he just got adopted, he's so cute, after a weekend wag, actually. So that's, the only other thing I had is that, no, that's all actually I had. So any other questions for you?
Do you participate with Best Friends? So sometimes the year you have the free adoption?
So
How does that work?
We don't do necessarily free adoptions with Best Friends. Sometimes they will run a program where they will give the money for the adoptions to us, but they haven't done that this year. But they have done it. But we are a network program with them and did reach no-kill status in 23, 24, and 25. So. Any other questions?
Yeah, so a while ago, there was discussion in the county about updating the actual building. Is that still something that's being planned or talked about?
That is still the plan. I don't have much of an update right now. The architect and Lane, who's our facilities department director, are going through the bid process right now. I think they just completed it and they're now crunching the numbers. Then I'll need to go back to commission because I do believe we'll be over budget. No matter how much we've cut, it is still going to be over budget. The feasibility study in 2023 said that we needed a $20 million facility, but Davis County only allocated the $16.5 million. So we were already kind of behind the 8 ball on that. So hopefully in September, we're bringing it back to commission, and I'll give you an update when I hear from them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But from what I understand, it's still going to be in Fruit Heights. It's going to be right in front of us. So we'll still have that kind of central location to Davis County and right in your backyard.
Thank you.
So, welcome.
Anything else, council?
Great. I have my card if you need to get a hold of me, and then I just have little thank you cards with our QR codes on the backs to our links. So if you want to take a look at any available animal, you can.
Sneaky, sneaky. Thank you.
Thank you. And if it's okay, we'll just head out.
Sure, yes,
Okay.
of course.
Thank you. Let me
so
know if you
much
need
for coming,
anything.
Michelle. Thank you for that presentation. Item 5.2, our Farmington Fire Report.
Before you guys leave, can I share something with you? Maybe, yes. Once in a while, we'll have animal shelters ask the fire department to show up. We will happily show up and hold the animal and help them for adoption. Oh, okay. Sometimes cool to put them in a fire truck, put them in an ambulance.
Do little pictures.
We love them.
I love that. Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, welcome, Chief Willis.
Well,
Looking forward to your
good
report.
morning. Good evening.
Take it away.
We're going to do the second quarter data, the second quarter report. And I just wanted to share at this point, I've been with Farmington now 14 months, and things are going great. Absolutely still love my position and enjoying doing both. So a couple of the slides are redundant if you've seen these before, and then obviously there's some new information, but same staffing model. We still have a maximum of 8 people. Typically, we're at 8 every day. We can staff 3 units with that. What's important is we can staff an engine, suppression unit, a medic unit, and an ambulance, and we work really hard to be able to do that. Go ahead. Service delivery, I always do this as well. It's important to know exactly where we're responding to, and as the community changes, for example, there's a ton of construction on all of the highways. It changes how we respond. So there is times where we have to make agreements with other cities. We'll go north, they'll go south, et cetera, so that we can get to each situation sooner. That's typically when it happens on an interstate. And right now, 89 is great, I-15 is terrible, Legacy is terrible, so far so good. So emergency calls, second quarter, go ahead. I love to do time of day, and I love to do days of the week. I looked back at time of day and day of the week for the first quarter. What was interesting is Thursdays and Sundays were tied for the most frequent calls, and then this quarter, Sunday trumps everybody, which is really unusual that we're getting that many calls on a Sunday. Time of day is exactly the same. We're looking at noon, 2 p.m., and then, of course, 4, 5, and 6 p.m. That stayed pretty consistent. Medical calls, we had 34 in this quarter, very similar amongst what we're responding to: cardiac issues, cardiac arrest, falls, canceled en routes, very consistent. And then fires, we have, the graph looks a little more impressive than what it actually is. The 2 graphs that are highest is fire alarm and canceled en route. Those are 2 instances, and then the rest are 1. So it's pretty consistent across the board as to what we respond to. Community risk reduction. This is something that we try to really focus on. We're looking at obviously new construction, any part of the community that's being renovated, but some of the things that we've just put into place is what we call hazard assessments. We have looked at Fruit Heights, we have looked at Farmington, and where are vulnerable populations? Where are populations where we have access, ingress, or egress issues? Where are commercial structures that have chemicals that we should be concerned about? All of our crews are walking through these particular facilities, so we know if we go there, these are the things we need to worry about. Just an example, the sports complex, the Western Sports Complex, they can have 10,000 people in there at the same time. If there's a fire, that's going to be a huge issue. So we've walked through, we've trained with their staff, we actually know how to isolate their building, so if we have to protect half of it and we have to allow half of it to burn, we can do that. We've done it with Cherry Hill, we've done it with Lagoon, we continue to do this, and that's something we do. We've made a goal of doing so many per year, and that requires our crew to do so many per month, and that's something we'll just constantly evaluate. So obviously, that's what I was just sharing with you. We've done Lagoon already. We're about to do Lagoon again. They're going to do Fright Nights. So they changed their infrastructure, and there's what they use, if you haven't been there in a while, they take pavilions that are open right now, and they turn them into their haunted houses, and there's 5 or 6, which means now these are confined spaces that don't have a lot of light. There's one way in, there's one way out. These are things that we work really hard with to make sure it's safe for the citizens. Okay, so WUI. Yeah, that's my 4-letter word right now. You can go to the next slide. So the great part about this is we have some resources. Farmington is fortunate that we have 2 large brush trucks. We have a rover that goes up in the canyon. We have a water tender. We have used every one of these in the past 3 weeks consistently. The water tender, we happen to have the only water tender in Davis County that was functional for over a month. So that was made available to all of Davis County, and then we have people in the city that are trained to drive that. We have 2 brush trucks. One brush truck was in North Ogden. They had a serious brush fire. We had one here, we had one there. The next week, we were in Washington Terrace. They had a huge brush fire where that gentleman passed. And then last week, we went to Hennifer twice, and we did it 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 6 a.m. in the morning. So we kept one here, and we allowed one to deploy. And when we deploy units, we're backfilling, so our staffing doesn't change. The way we respond to calls does not change when this happens. The great part about this is because we have partnerships with forestry state lands, they actually reimburse us for whatever backfill we have to provide. So it's a great partnership. Yeah, so brush fires. July 3rd, and I realize this is out of the second quarter, but it's so relevant I wanted to talk about. We had the brush fire in Wilderness Park that bordered Fruit Heights. We were really concerned. It went really well, and they were able to stop that. We were in Davis County in North Ogden, we were in Washington Terrace, and then we've been in Hennifer twice. So the interesting part is some of those fires were caused by fireworks. The governor did something unusual this year where he allowed FFSL to create an executive order that states each city had the right to decide, are you going to ban fireworks? Are you going to allow fireworks? What is that going to look like? So city manager and I spoke about this. The important part for me was what can we protect and what are we worried about? So my city allowed me to make a decision and your city allowed me to make the same decision. Do we have a location that's safe to discharge fireworks that we can man and we can protect the surrounding area? We didn't feel like we had a comfortable spot in Fruit Heights. We banned it. We had a great spot in Farmington. We had a huge park that when we discharged the fireworks, it went over the softball fields. So there was really nothing it could burn. So that worked well for July 4th. We get to then the second part of the year, Pioneer Day, where the governor now says the cities can request to ban, but now you have to apply to FFSL and say, I want to ban, and this is why. And at that point, we thought we've had a little bit of rain. We have a really good idea of what we're going to do. We had fireworks patrols. We had people for 4 days prior to and after traveling all over to make sure we were on top of it. So we allowed it the second holiday, and it worked really well. We didn't have any issues in either city. Go on. Other cities did. So Wilderness Park, obviously, that was set by some individuals. They were young adults that were having fun with fireworks, and the fireworks got away from them. They bailed. They didn't stay. They knew there was a fire, but other people did stay. Were able to take video. They were able to actually locate the individuals that did this. Costa Vida was a group of individuals that were discharging illegal fireworks, and that burned that restaurant down.
You said illegal?
Illegal fireworks, yeah.
In that case.
Yep. So Layton had a wonderful, they had areas in their city where you could do in multiple locations, you could discharge fireworks. However, the individuals that did this were using fireworks that are not legal in this state. So, unfortunate. Okay, so on to some more fun stuff. We did community engagement, which was great. We love doing community engagement. We came here for Founder's Day, which is a wonderful event. And then we went on to Festivals Day. A couple of other things that we're doing going forward, I realize isn't part of the second quarter, but 9/11 ceremonies. This is the 25th anniversary, unfortunately, of 9/11. So there'll be lots of ceremonies that will be coming up in the near future. So the last thing I want to share is what is the focus? What are our goals for the second quarter? This will go on to the third quarter. And I say this every time. I like to focus on efficiencies and effectiveness. And this isn't something that we look at once. Are we continually effective? Are we continually efficient? And if we're not, what do we need to tweak? So some of the things that we look at, you can scroll to the next. In the second quarter, we actually were inspected by ISO, Insurance Services Office. What this does, it's a United States-wide inspection of fire departments. We can tell them no, but if we tell them no, they change our ISO rating to a 10. This affects your insurance, whether it's your homeowner's insurance, your commercial insurance. 1 is the best, 10 is the worst. Today, we're 3, and in the Canyon, we're a 3X. And these are the criteria that get evaluated. Fire protection, how quickly can we get to the scene of a fire? Get 17 firefighters on that scene. How many engines do we have? How much water do we have? What is our water distribution system? Fruit Heights has an amazing water distribution system, and the inspector was extremely impressed with what you do and how you maintain it. How quickly does dispatch get to look and dispatch a call? What is our training like, and what is our community risk reduction? So that's why we're doing these hazard assessments. This all boosts our score. We don't know our score yet. It takes 60 to 90 days, and at this point, we're close to 60 days in, so we should be getting a score soon. That will be made public to the mayor, to the city manager of both cities, and then you can, of course, share that with your occupants.
Do they delineate between Farmington and Fruit Heights, or is it together?
They could. I doubt they will, but what they will delineate is the canyon versus the city, because the response up there is very different. The water distribution system is different up there. Okay? Some of the other things that we've managed is, I talked last time about how we had to reapply for our medical license to be able to service these communities. Every June, we have to reapply with the state once a year to be able to have our vehicles licensed. So that requires an inspection, it requires a fee. We have to maintain a state inventory of equipment and medications, and we have to be able to prove that we can do that. So we did this in June. We passed. Thankfully, we passed, or we wouldn't be providing service. But the important part about this is if 2025 and in 2026, some of the state laws changed as to what we can bill for with regard to ambulance service. It used to be that the state law allowed, we send an ambulance, we transport a patient, we bill for the use of the ambulance, we bill for the equipment, and we bill for the medication. That has been taken away from everybody in the state. We can now bill for the transport. So as we look at our medical inventory and our medical equipment, we still have to comply with what the state requires, but we can no longer bill for it. So one of the things that we have done is we've created an inventory, and now I have an inventory system that gets managed once a month. We want to make sure that if we're buying medical supplies, medication, for example, that we use them before they expire. And there's some things you cannot avoid, but one of the other things we'd like to do is if we have medication that's expired, we'd like to partner with our local vets to say they can use expired medication, we cannot. And I think it would be a great partnership of at least if we can't use it for our citizens, we can use it for our animal families. So that's something we'll be doing. Okay. Big focus for us, obviously, is continued training and development. We have a certain amount of EMS hours that we have to do every 2 years. We track that regularly. We do fire training as well. That is some of the things that ISO tracks. We have to do 290 hours of fire training, which requires us to do 2 hours a day. It's impossible. We can't reach it. We get really close. On top of that, there's officer training, driver training, hazmat training, and then leadership training. So all these things are tracked, and then they're turned over to this ISO inspector. And then one of the things we're also required to do is several functional fitness tests. And one of the things we have to do, because we have a canyon and we have a wildland urban interface area, is we have to be wildland firefighter certified, which requires us to wear a 35, 45-pound vest. It's called a red card certification. We have to do a 3-mile lap in a certain amount of time wearing this vest. So what we've tried to do is create 3 quarterly fitness tests that are functional, but yet fun. So one we just did was, it's hot in July. We did it in the end of June, beginning of July, and we used our rec center. You had to do 2.5 miles. It was 20 laps. Every lap that you did push-ups, squats, and you went up and down a set of stairs. You did that 20 times. Wow. We had a max. You had to do it in under 60 minutes, so 59 minutes or less. And the person that finished first got an award, and it was a blast. That's something that we do every quarter.
Give us the name of who finished first so we can applaud them. You know?
It was great. What's fun is he's young, so of course he finished first, right? But the competitiveness of the firefighters, or who finished second, who finished third, I finished fourth, which I loved, because
That deserves a
There you
little.
go.
Yeah,
I'm way
that's why
older
you're
than
chief.
they are. So anyway, it was fun.
Chief's right up
So
there
I
on the
used it.
scoreboard. Well done.
And then the last slide is, I wanted to just give you a quick update on our budget. Obviously, we've all just started a new budget. I love July. I get to buy stuff. Some of the big things that we've ordered, we have a new medic vehicle that's on order. It's a F-150 that has a topper on the back.
And our medic vehicle is got 122,000 miles. And what we find is as frequently as we're using an ambulance and a medic vehicle, we've got to turn them over about every 5 years, or all we're doing is maintaining them. And we end up spending more money than not. The interesting part about this is I thought that vehicle was going to be outrageously expensive. An ambulance today is about $350,000. The medic vehicle was $111,000. Custom made, I was floored. The F-150 is the F-150, but we customed everything out, $111,000. The Rover, I thought, was going to be about $30,000. It's at $60,000, and I'm not done. I don't have UTVs. I had no idea how much Rovers were. But we had budgeted overall about $160,000, so together I can actually get both of these vehicles. I'm so grateful that the medic vehicle was as cost-effective as it was. The Rover will allow us to be able to take a person from the top of the mountain down on the back of a stretcher, and they're safe. Where today our Rover it's old, depending on the weight, it struggles, it's just no longer safe. So that's on order as well. And then another interesting statistic, fire equipment has a life expectancy. Fire hose life expectancy is 10 years. I have hose that's 30 years old. We have hose older than people that work there. So we were able to get, the city allowed me to purchase, there's 4 different types of hose that we purchase. One size, we use it frequently. That was $20,000, and I was able to purchase that. So each year for the next 3 years, we'll purchase a different size hose, and then all of our hose will be in compliance. And that's really important to us. And then finally, the last information is the station build. If you haven't driven by there, the fire station now, the second floor is going up. The metal shell is coming together. It actually looks like a building. So I'm pretty excited about that. And we're still on task for March or April of next year.
Remind everybody where that is. They want to drive by.
I'm sorry?
We'll remind everyone where
Sure.
that is.
It's Innovator Drive and Maker Way. So the new park that Farmington just put, that just opened probably a couple months ago, a year ago, it's right across the street from there.
Yeah.
And that's it. Any questions for me?
Council?
I love your report, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great presentation. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate having you. Okay, wonderful. Moving to number 6 we're into discussion items. Okay, 6.1. Is there any discussion on the appointment for planning commissioner? I have, for the information of the public, I've shared all this with council already, but we did receive several applications for, this is for District 4 in our planning commission. And when we'd received several of them, we began to schedule interviews and sitting down. Being that I myself live in District 4, I wanted to, avoid any sort of perception of me alone making a decision and being biased or something. So I invited a member of the Planning Commission as well as a member of staff to interview with me. And we had a great experience. We have wonderful people in our community and very talented, very capable people. And from that, a consensus amongst all of us when we compared notes was Callan Bagley is his name. He's with us tonight. Callan, thanks for being here. He's a wonderful applicant, very talented guy, smart, and brings a lot of good assets to this and skills to this position. So he is my recommendation to the council, and I hope you will support and confirm his appointment. Is there any discussion or question that the council would like to ask me about that at this point?
The one comment I have is that I did have a chance to look at his, your LinkedIn profile. It looks like you have a lot of good professional experience, and I don't have anything concerns or questions beyond that. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything else that I should mention. I have all confidence in Callan and taking on this. He's just a good neighbor who's stepped forward and interested in serving in the public. For anyone who is concerned, his background is not in real estate or development of any kind. He's in a business sector in a completely different capacity, if that is something that anyone wondered about. We're just really impressed with him and glad to have him step forward, and I feel like he'll be a very good fit. All of us felt that he'd be a great fit on our commission and work well with our other commission members. So if that's everything, we can move to the next item.
Well, I just want to express gratitude to all the applicants and thank you for being willing to serve in our community.
Absolutely.
We're just really grateful for people that step up and care about their community, so appreciate it.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you to you and to the others who applied. I'll say publicly to anyone who applies, we're grateful for that and encourage it. So as far as the discussion, we'll get to that action item. Actually, unless we could let Callan go if we can move the action item. Are we ready to, should we just go ahead and move the action item here and quickly take care of that?
I don't have a problem
And
with that.
then he's got a family he can go home and enjoy being with instead of waiting through all the rest of this. Is council all right if we do that?
I'm okay with doing that personally, but I'm just one.
Yeah.
And I'll just
Blake
make a
seems
quick
okay.
comment.
David seems okay.
Typically, I would like to know just a little bit more about the candidates. I had a chance to talk to them before the meeting, just get to know them a little bit. And that was nice, but it'd be nice to just be a little bit more informed on sooner, just so that we can consider the candidate. Just my request, I would say.
Okay, that's noted. I will share that admittedly, I'm a new mayor, right? So this is my second appointment, and I sort of took a poll, not a poll, but like kind of a questionnaire of in other cities how this goes, and just for everyone's knowledge and information, the process that we've used here is very much in line with, and by some standards even more thorough and ahead of time than several other cities. That varies a little bit from city to city, but generally it is written in our statutes as well as the mayor's job to appoint, to gather the applications, to go through, to interview, and then to make a selection and appoint. And variously in different cities, councils ask no questions or very few, or in a few cases receive fuller information, but it varies a little bit. It's not entirely standard because it is, again, by statute, it's the mayor's job to do the vetting, not the council's job to do the vetting. But having said that, I have made an effort to share information both from our interview experience as well as reaching out to speak with each of you and ask what questions you might have had, and share what I know about this candidate. So I do feel I've made that effort. Gary, we tried to connect today. You were probably busy, but I was trying to text you and connect with that. I mean, that didn't succeed as well as it could have this time, but I did feel that I made that effort, and appreciate your support. So if we could go ahead, it seems like I've got at least 3 nods here to go ahead and do the vote, and we can allow Callan to head back to his family. But remind me, is this a roll call type of a vote? I'm not remembering. This is consent. This is consent vote. Okay, so all in favor of supporting the appointment for planning commission, or wait,
You need a
it's not by a
motion.
motion.
You're right. You
Is
need
it
a motion.
consent, with consent?
Okay, motion to appoint
Okay.
Callum Bagley
Wait,
as
wait,
a
wait,
planning
consent
commission member.
agenda.
Do we need a motion from
I think
council?
so. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Did you get it?
I'll second.
Okay, so a motion from Blake, a second from David. All in favor of this motion, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay, thank you, council. That is unanimous, and I appreciate your support and thank you, Callan, for being here tonight and for stepping forward to serve in our community. We appreciate you. Okay, great. Going back to, we'll go to 6.2. The LRB Cemetery Financial Proposal is an item for discussion here. We did have, so the cemetery has not been a major topic in our public meetings this year, except for in our last meeting where Todd, and he's here, good, hello Todd, as our committee chair, gave a presentation. Just to fill in a little background for members of the public. When I took office, and after the discussions and things that were said and took place during the campaign, and having talked to many, many people out there, realizing this is a interesting question. There are many for and many not for this issue, but the cemetery committee had expressed they didn't feel that they'd had enough support to do whatever they needed to do to investigate a cemetery possibility in recent times. And so I reached out as an olive branch and said, hey, why don't I give you some support? I don't feel like we can investigate continually forever, but if we take 1 year in the whole year of 2026, is that enough time to answer a question, not to develop a cemetery, let me be clear, but to answer the question, is there a way for Fruit Heights to have a cemetery that doesn't require any tax impact? That was my ask of the cemetery. And they said, when I say by they, I mean I spoke with Todd, and I also spoke with Eileen. She's having been involved in it. They said, yes, we think a year would be plenty of time. And so they have assembled their committee and been working on developing and talking about how could that be done and not impact our tax money. So that's kind of the background of what the cemetery committee has been busy trying to investigate this year. Also, in January with our strategic planning meeting with council, I introduced that idea, told them of those discussions, and they were supportive of saying, yes, and for this year we can support it and we'll put some money in the budget to do possible studies or whatever's needed to get good data, get an answer to that question. And so that's where that work has been, that's what's been happening. So in the budget that we've now approved for this year, there is a line item for some financial support of doing a study, a cost study or some type of study, and cost being, a main a main topic when it comes to cemetery. So LRB, you see up on the screen, is a company and we made efforts to look around and see how many companies provide that kind of a service. It turns out not many. So this is one company that does do these kinds of studies, among other things, in their services for municipalities, but that has experience, has some pretty extensive experience in providing cemetery financial studies, feasibility and sustainability. And so we obtained a proposal from them to help us out with a comprehensive analysis of cost. And so that is the proposal that's there right now tonight. Now, in the meantime, other things have developed, and there are other questions on the board about, as far as cemetery, because it's not as simple as all that in our city. We have other questions to resolve, and also, as council is aware, and as Todd presented in his remarks last week, the committee is interested in going out to find some information about, or to request information from private companies to see if that's a possibility. So that's kind of the focus. I think I'm correct in saying that right now. Todd, correct me if I'm wrong. That's the focus of the committee, is to try to see if there's a private company option. We're saying private-public partnership, but I think what we're talking about is a private company that would be willing to basically foot the whole cost for us if they could use the land. So that's an open question, and that's a question no one knows the answer to. So that's a question you're looking for an answer to and wanting to investigate. So it may or may not be the right time to do this proposed study. And it may be that at another time would be the right time, but council, we can discuss this now. I just want to give some background for the public so they're not in confusion about what's happening with the cemetery committee, because we all know that's been a topic off and on for many years. So this proposal before us here is a thing that the scope of this proposal is looking at a city-built and maintained cemetery that would be self-sustaining. And in other words, like at what cost, at what price point for the end user would you be able to build and pay for building and maintaining and sustaining a cemetery all the way through for a long, long time? That's what this proposal proposes to evaluate. They can also evaluate other cost models. Todd went through several of them. I think if you have any questions on those, there are other cost models. LRB is able to evaluate any of those. It would just be a different proposal, be a different scope than this one before us tonight, is all. So discussion on that. Eileen, maybe you have some things, being that you're the cemetery committee liaison, or anyone else have some ideas or discussion on this item tonight?
I think we need an answer to, are we going to be able to move the trails did you talk to the people that gave us the grant for the bike trail?
So it's depending on how much of the trails. If it's, just down at the south corner, that's easy enough. We can move those trails to be around it. If it's the whole project, then there's a lot more to it at that point.
So for 5 years, we're limited with how much we can do.
Well, like I said, it depends on if we're just doing a couple acres down at the bottom, 3 acres, whatever. The trails that come into that, we can move those trails and still stay in compliance. The map that's in the presentation and stuff like that shows that whole area. That's where there's a lot of things we have to work with.
So we need to get with Curtis then and get a new map of where we might use in the next 5 years. Is that true?
Yeah. Yes. We need to show this is what we'd be using. This is how we would reroute those mountain bike trails. The only map I have right now shows the whole property as part of that. And so I don't know where that is. If it's the whole property, yes. We have a grant and we have an agreement with that grant that limits the possibilities.
Do we need to do something more along the line of an RFP for this kind of study? That's a significant amount of money. It seems like, and maybe there is only one company, but we haven't done anything.
So I will tell you, we did research a lot and asked a lot of other communities, and we talked with Zions Bank because that was one that communities have used, is Zions Bank. We actually talked with Zions Bank, just like we did with this company here. Zions Bank, the communities that they have done studies for already have a cemetery, and so they're able to take the information they already have, the costs they're already using, and then help plan for the future. This company was a little bit different. They've worked with cities that don't have a cemetery that want to either try to put in a cemetery, a private or a partnership or however, and been able to go through and do a lot of research, not only in Utah, but surrounding states, and come up with a way to do that.
Well,
Yeah, this is one of those that is a pretty limited company that can provide that kind of service.
But we haven't put it out there for anybody else either to find out.
No.
we haven't, it just is not a common, there's not a big wide variety of companies that we know of that do
Right.
this.
I
I mean,
understand
having
that.
talked to Zions is a big one that helps with municipal finance, like you said,
Yeah.
but even them, they were like, well, we do fee studies, you know, like you're saying, if you've already got it in place and you've got all the numbers, information for us, we can calculate, you know, study
your
if
fee
your
should
fees
be
are at
and-
the right level right now or whatever, but not as comprehensive or able to do as big a scope as this. So in our ordinances, in a purchasing ordinance, there is there's a whole section on the types of goods or services that are don't lend themselves to wide a variety of competitive bidding, that are like single source, you know, that are or specialty types of services, and I think this is considered that.
So,
So anyway, yeah.
I
go
beg
ahead.
your pardon. So it sounds like the question before us tonight is a little bit complicated by the fact that we've got some questions about the land itself, the grants that we have already on it. I also feel like the question is still out, and I had an opportunity to speak with Todd this past week. The question is still out on what kind of project is being envisioned by the cemetery committee, and whether or not we need to get a little bit more information before we move forward with this. Todd, I appreciate your email you provided to council, or you sent to council, where you said that this might be the right thing to move forward with, it might not be the right thing to move forward with, but that you were hoping to get some more questions answered. And I agree with that. I think that we have a few questions that are out that may significantly impact the feasibility study itself. It may be that we do a feasibility study and we can't move forward with the project for a number of years, and by that time, that feasibility study is not as realistic with where the market's at. So I've got some concerns personally with moving forward with this project right now. But I don't know if it's appropriate to have Todd speak with us a little bit. He's the chair of our cemetery committee, and Eileen also is our liaison for that committee. But do you have anything that you would like to say? Is that appropriate? Are we able to do that? Todd, would you like to?
I mean, if there's something that you want to add to this that we're not considering or haven't mentioned, Todd, you don't have to, I mean, you didn't expect us.
I won't twist
you didn't
your arm
expect
on
us
this
to call
one.
on you, so it's okay.
I have one comment.
Do you mind coming and stepping
Get on
up
a
to the
microphone
mic?
for that.
I appreciate it.
This is kind of a detail, but the discussion about the trails up there. In the area, I'm assuming the map you're talking about is in the RFP that we've been working on. The RFP itself talks about the trails, and that they have to, what they propose has to work around the trails that are there. So it's not ignoring the trails. So, but we want to, obviously it's a top item, and I would like, maybe with some of the committee members, be able to meet with the people that, the agency and the stuff in the state government that's providing, you know, that does that. Because I really have a hard time believing that the contract would be so ironclad that if they're doing a trail system somewhere and some important thing came up, that they couldn't do something to work around it. And so I want to,
Well, I think
I'd like to
Darren
know
was
what-
alluding to that. He said he felt like if there's a small impingement seems easy to solve. But what's represented in the document that you're currently working on to put out for information is the entire thing plus the rest of the 100 acres is highlighted
Yeah,
in blue.
do you have a sense of
So-
the size of that project? Or,
Oh, it's
or
not.
what you're anticipating
Well-
long-term in your multiple phases? Again,
Yeah.
if the answer is that you haven't anticipated that yet, I don't want to.
Right, we can get, the way we have scoped it out, about 1,000 plots per acre, pretty much.
And if it's cremains, you get about 3 boxes for cremains in what would be 1 grave.
So 3,000 per acre?
If it's
If it's.
If we were-
cremains.
So,
Or, but that would be in the ground boxes, because there's also other options, like doing a short wall on the side. And so there's some different options, but yeah, maybe around 2,000 burials of cremains and
Okay. so
per
it's not
acre,
quite-
per acre.
Not quite 3,
Well,
strictly speaking, but there could be mixes and matches where you could get more.
Mixes and matches.
Depending on
yes.
the situation.
And the
I
other thing that they tell us is that more and more people are choosing cremation. And so as years go on, there may be more that wish to be cremated than
And-
buried.
And I have to wonder, what if we were to have a cremains only type of place? I don't know.
There are a lot of people that still want burials.
traditional burial.
So just think, for services, let's just say services of deaths, they figure about 50 per 6,000 residents per year. So if you had 500 plots, that would be, basically our city is about 6,000. We have other people who have already made arrangements outside of the city. So just, projecting that out based on our current,
That's right, but in the case of public-private, if a private company were to come in, they would not
Right.
be confining it only to Fruit Heights residents. That
Right,
would-
that's correct.
They're there for profit.
And
And that's not gonna make them a
take
profit.
however much land we allocate. Whereas if we do it within the city without that public-private partnership or without partnering with another city, then we of course maintain availability for a really long time.
So are we putting the cart before the horse here, though? It sounds like we might, and I wanna talk a little bit about the balance here, because obviously I don't want the cemetery committee to be so granular that we're asking about every detail. But at the same time, the question before council, and the one that I'm hoping to get an answer for eventually, is what realistically the cost of a project like this would be. And then depending on that, the options going forward. So it's, for me, I can see this kind of in 2 ways. We can get really specific and have a very detailed plan going in, and then get a price model for that. We can go in and kind of look at it, and because in your presentation, it was still, and correct me if I'm wrong, those questions are still being explored.
Yeah, and actually, we had like 6 options, and there's really only 2 that we are seriously looking at. And that's,
In addition to keeping it in the city.
yeah, the city, and the other one was
We
the
have
public-private.
or, combining with another city that maybe already has the knowledge too. But the problem with
That
combining.
represents a tax impact. That represents an increased
So
cost to residents.
there's 3, but 2 of those options do fill up the available
Quickly.
space. very
So
quickly.
that, yep, so that.
Okay.
So,
I have one more question for you, Todd.
Yeah.
Your presentation a couple weeks ago, you had some like engineering work that we had were able to complete in one small area that showed the viability of, can we actually easily dig graves in this area? Are there plans to continue to investigate some more broader areas where we might
We can do
evaluate
that.
that?
That was the area where we did it was kind of the phase one area that we had been exploring. Curtis Tanner, he's on our committee, he's kind of the expert in that area, and he's out of town right now, so we can't. But we can pursue that a little bit more. I was frankly very pleasantly surprised at how well that went. 'Cause
Yeah, that's one of the concerns. I've spoken to several residents, and they say that this, it's impossible, it's too rocky, but if we do some testing like this, it would kind of validate that whether it is or is not, so that's.
Yeah, I think we could probably answer that question by just digging a couple of more pits,
And,
2 or 3 more up on the south
and
side.
I think that's worthwhile because, if I recall right, when they did the geological survey for the Rockloft Ridge, they were surprised that they didn't have as many rocks as they thought they would. In that, I recognize they're 2 different parcels of land, but they're not so far apart that they're like majorly different. So,
Yeah. But walking along there, it looks rocky.
right.
So that's where I think that's where the feeling
Yeah.
comes from.
And I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
maybe some would have said that about where the Rockloft Ridge is right now.
Yeah.
Past, but anyways,
So-
just,
Being that the direction that you're wanting to go is to investigate, is there a private sort of company that would respond to a request for information and make some sort of a proposal, maybe isn't the right word, but like indicate that they would, you know, in a detailed fashion, not just, hey, we're interested, but like,
Yeah.
you know, in a detailed fashion of like how much the proposal has to elicit and solicit that kind of detail. How many acres are actually available? Does that interest them? Would they want more? Is that enough? What can we use up there? It's not 100, you know? It's something less than
Well,
that. And that,
We've never implied it was 100. because
the
100
picture implies it.
It's not our intent to apply that.
Okay,
Yeah,
the photo that's included in the document implies it. So I'm not trying to start a fight there. I'm just
Right.
saying it needs a little bit of cleaning up in order not to imply that with the picture. But you know, what I'm trying to say is like putting out something that is specific enough that you can get specific enough answers in return, that they can be evaluated. And maybe at that point, we approach or come back to our LRB and say, if we receive something back from that, we want help evaluating that against other options.
it might also be helpful to not only do what you just indicated, but also have the interested parties talk to LRB just to get more information, get
I think that would be
more-
helpful
more,
for
you know,
the
because,
committee to talk to LRB.
you know, as you've said, that maybe this is the right path, maybe LRB is the right path, maybe it's not. I would like to, you have indicated you would like to ask more questions.
Right.
And myself, my feelings are that if we have a committee that's been invested for quite some time, it does make sense to have them try and see what they think. You know, they're not the deciding voice necessarily, but it would be nice just to see what they think,
What they think about what?
LRB, about,
Oh, okay.
you know, some of the questions that, you know, Todd had.
Okay.
That's fair. I was able to have a good
Thank you, Todd.
conversation. I've already talked, thank you, Todd. I already related this to Todd, but this afternoon, I was hoping to have someone from LRB here tonight, just so everybody knows. I was really working hard on that, but they have, you know, a lot of cities to be in. He said he had 3 different places to be tonight, and he really would have liked to be here, but sometimes it's just like that. So I did have an extensive conversation. I was able to ask him the questions that you had emailed, Todd, and I've, just so council is aware, this is all in the last few hours, so I didn't have time to loop everybody in. But I did ask them Todd's questions that he had in the email, and so I'm trying the best I can to represent, the information that I have from him. But this proposal that they've given here, as I've said, aims to evaluate costs of a city-built and maintained and owned and operated cemetery that is self-sustaining and, in other words, pays for itself. That was what this is trying to evaluate in terms of cost for everybody's information. That was the model at the time we asked for them to do a proposal. That was what we were asking for. Things have evolved since that time into this other direction of wanting to solicit for private. I mean, that private company is going to do the same calculation, only for them, they're going to be, how much do we pay to develop this and to create a cemetery and then maintain it and everything for I'm not sure how many number of years they would commit to and come back, and then also make a profit at it because they're in it for profit. And so they're performing the same type of calculation on their side, and then come back to us with that if they do. So we'll that's the same thing going on here at both sides. If we want to put that out first, I'm fine with that's fine. Let's put that out and see what comes back. Maybe that's the first step, but I think you still need an independent analysis. At that point, more questions get raised when that comes back about the longevity, about the length of commitment, about whether it eventually falls on the city, because we see examples of that all over the place. So it raises more questions, and those would need answering to, and an evaluation of anything that were to be returned from that RFI would be necessary and helpful.
Right, and
So
I
that
agree with
would just be a different proposal than this one here.
Sure.
So one of the things to always consider too is that government frequently takes on tasks that private does not want to take on. That's why we have city-run water and city-run garbage pickup and those kinds of things as well, so.
So you're speaking of a cemetery as a utility. Some cities consider that the case and others do not. And it is I don't think you can find an example of a city where a cemetery even breaks even. It just doesn't exist.
Then why are people building private ones?
Well, I think that
Oftentimes their profits come from the funeral services, because they're a company that provides those other services. That's where they're making their profit center on, is that it's not on the grave
Sure.
site and maintenance of the park.
Well, it sounds to me like we maybe have some questions that are going in different directions. The question before council tonight is about the LRB and this proposal, correct?
Yes, this proposal
Okay.
specifically, yeah.
Given that information, I don't know that we do this in this section, but I think that it would probably be wise for us to table this and come back to get a little bit more input from cemetery committee, and then we can answer some of those questions a little bit more and not have this be quite as big of a question, because right now this feels like we're talking about a lot of different things, and if we have a feasibility study is what I would love to see. I would love to see what I'm asking our neighbors to pay for, and what it would look like, and are they in favor of the kind of cemetery that we're talking about? And those are the questions that I don't know, they could be answered by this study, but without buy-in from the cemetery committee, I'm not very comfortable moving forward with that right now.
Well, and the other thing is, we look down the agenda on our citywide survey, one of the things that was proposed that Darren sent us out was to put a question about cemeteries in. So
correct.
That may be helpful as well.
Correct. So would the council want to
Are we jumping forward to
promote
action
promote
items
the
again?
next
Yeah,
thing.
let's,
RFI thing, I don't think it requires a vote to say we can put that RFI out. It just requires some legwork and communication between committee and staff. Is that a direction the council wants to direct staff to go ahead and help that go forward?
Are you going to wait till the action items, or what do you
Well,
want to?
do you want to discuss that or not, I mean,
I'm open to doing it however works best. I just want to make sure that, because I feel like I've gotten a little bit lost here. We are still just talking about this proposal, correct?
well, yeah, that's,
Right.
yes, I will say, like I just say, we can vote yes or no on this proposal, but just in your mind, get council direction for what the cemetery committee has been trying to work on toward asking for an RFI, request for information on private companies' interest in the site, is not necessarily a vote, but we can, instead of, this,
we need that?
can give direction in that. So I'm just putting that out there. That's one of the things you could do as a council tonight.
Okay.
So, on this.
No, I think that the answer to the question of can we financially pay for this, this kind of a study would help to answer that, but I agree that I don't think we're ready to ask those questions quite yet, because there are still a lot of unknowns, so.
Okay. There are. That's exactly right. A lot of unknowns. Okay, we'll go to 6.3, purchase of telemetry. SCADA, is that what that is? That says there? SCADA? Is that how we say SCADA? Telemetry system upgrade. Lane, you're going to help us understand
Yes.
all these terms. Please go ahead.
So SCADA is the Supervisor Control and Data Acquisition System. Basically, what it is it's the brains of the water system. It turns on our water pumps, our chlorine feeders, our well. It monitors flows. It's the brains of the system. So it runs automatically. It gives me alarms if there's an issue with the system, out of power. It does everything as far as operating the system.
It's the controls. It's the
Yeah,
control
the
logic,
controls.
it's the
Yep.
control brains, it's the computer that does it.
Exactly, yep. So the current system we have it was put in the early 2000s, and computers have come a long way since then. We can't even get a lot of the parts that we currently use to replace. If they do go bad, they have to be rebuilt. And sometimes that takes weeks to do, right? So
How old is our system right now?
25, I think it's 25 years old. So I think right around 2000 it was put in, so.
Okay.
Also with this new system, it's all gonna be tied into fiber, so it's more secure. It can't get, it's a lot less likely to get intercepted going through the city's fiber. It's a lot more secure. My recommendation is to go with the MA automation system that they provided, of $75,202.
And that has everything you could wish for.
Everything that we need.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. It's you can get way you can go way above and beyond, and we don't need to.
I'm surprised they're more than $50,000 cheaper than the next bidder.
So were we.
Half price.
So were we. And I reviewed this extensively with Computech. This is what he does over there. He reviews SCADA systems for other cities and other people that use controls, and he was very surprised at the price. But it's equivalent or greater than the other ones as far as what we're putting in. So
the bid that came in from SKM and APCO that were quite a bit more, same system.
same thing, same equipment. I mean, they have different.
But same
Brands.
end
Same
product
thing.
and
Yep, exactly.
same abilities.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Probably different brands, but the same functionality.
Yes. Yep. So
And nobody's going to get mad because we're using something from China, right?
no, I mean, I don't know that much about technology, so I'm really relying on Computech here, and I've called on references for M8 and all of them really, and none of them had bad reviews, but M8 was, yeah, nobody had, he had extraordinary reviews, so.
I assume this has the flexibility is that we have, you know, new development and we have to change our systems, or we have to send stuff up for the animal control or something like that. That this has the capacity to change and be flexible with us.
This is strictly for the water system.
This is our big water tank.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
What I'm
It
saying is
won't-
that
it
as
won't
our
be-
water needs change over time, this system is flexible enough to
Yes.
adapt to all
yes,
those
yep,
needs.
yep.
Yeah,
this one
you
will
can,
have-
you can add to it. So if there was like a new pump or something,
Yes.
it's one of those things that can be added right into the system. We don't have to buy a whole new system for a new pump.
Did we discuss, or did they talk about how much extra IO they would have in the system? Input, output type stuff? Did they indicate anything like that?
As far
Water
as-
capacity.
No, as far as like adding components, as like adding a pump or adding a,
No.
adding, just
Currently-
being a little bit more flexible, because if they have a panel and they have this much stuff to put in the panel,
Yes.
then they cannot possibly put any, the flexibility is low. But if they have a panel this big and they put this much in there, they have a lot of flexibility. That's what I'm talking about.
So the panel we're taking out is huge. The one that's going back in is small. So yes, there is room to add to it. It's flexible. I asked this question. We can, if we ever have a need for another tank, we can put more pumps on it. Yes,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking
yes.
is,
Perfect.
We can add
the way
to it.
they add that is through
Yes.
IO, which is, yeah.
That's not in the bid, but that was verbally mentioned.
You may just want to
So,
ask.
Okay.
I mean, I think you've done a fantastic job, by the way, researching this out. That's a great price. I think
Agreed.
this is awesome.
okay,
Yeah.
So-
good.
Yeah, I mean, it's way below budget, so,
Yeah.
well done, yeah. Anything else from council on this right now?
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thanks so much, Lane. Thanks for your work, keeping our water flowing and clean. Thank you.
Are you staying up here for trailer, or are you going back down?
Oh, yeah, maybe you're staying right up here. We're going to.
No,
He's
no,
like,
I mean,
just gonna hang out.
sell us on it, come on.
So-
Purchase of, 6.4, purchase of Public Works trailer replacement.
So the current equipment trailer that we use, it is capable of hauling the mini excavator around, but it's right at the limit. And to be honest, it's becoming a safety issue. We have attachments that go with us to these jobs. Granted, it's not far from the shop, but we're almost overloading the trailer when we take it. So our recommendation is to purchase another trailer. It'll have an additional axle. It'll be gooseneck.
This wasn't the trailer that was used for the float, was it?
No, they're different trailer. Different trailer. The
It
new
can hold the
trailer,
Old North Church just fine.
yeah. The new trailer we're proposing it's gooseneck, it's 3-axle.
Okay.
I've looked at them. They seem like great trailers.
Is it the intent to keep the old one as well?
No, I will sell it. I don't need another trailer. So,
Okay.
So that'll be put back into the vehicle service fund?
yes, yep. And I've got a rough price for what it'll sell for. He said maybe 7. We're hoping for 7,000. So
Are you gonna just, are you trading that in, or are you gonna put it for sale?
I think
in
I
the
can get more
city?
out of it if I put it for sale through the city and not trade it in.
Yeah,
But,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
yeah. So that was my plan. So
So, and no one is, in Public Works is related to, trailer box?
Raw Max.
Raw Max.
Or, yeah, Raw Max.
not that I'm aware of.
I say that almost in jest, because actually, I was reading minutes from another city a while back, and they voted to buy a new trailer, just similar to this kind of thing. And then they found out that one of the city council members actually owned the company the trailer was being bought from. And I'm like, that seems like a conflict.
It's raw Max, it's not raw moss, so I think we're okay on
I
this
think
one.
we're okay. Thank you.
So
I'm just-
not to my knowledge. So yeah, my recommendation.
I'm sure you're fine.
Purchase a new trailer. at the cost of $18,148.
Again, under what, you said 28,000 was budgeted for a new utility vehicle for parks, and using that budget for this instead, we're $10,000
Yes,
underneath that
exactly.
amount. So great job again there.
So-
Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 6.6. Okay, letter for the 5th.
Oh, number 6.5.
Oh, gosh, I see, okay, thank you, Gary. I skipped 6.5. Yeah, sorry. Award bid for citywide survey. So Darren's gonna.
Yeah,
give some
Mayor and
information.
Council, we put out for the RFP for a survey. We had 17 companies
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of companies.
that actually bid on the project. The ones that we reviewed were within what we budgeted as a city. The ones that were up and above that, we did not review those. I actually did go through them and score them myself, but we weren't within the budget area, so I used 7 or 8 that were within the budget that we did. I had 7 individuals, including myself, score each one of them. The scoring came back within just about either the same score or within a point different. And looking at, we scored on scope of work, cost, references, experience.
Can we work with these companies to help, like for this, one of your questions on the cemetery? I think the cemetery committee has explored so many things that we have some specific things we'd like answers to. So rather than being really broad-based, can we help with that, or do they just like put something together?
No,
'Cause we
so.
want answers to specific
Right.
things.
So part of the RFP states, here's the basic topics
Okay.
that were asked of the council or that's been talked about. They had questions. Okay, is the whole thing, you want 20 questions just on this? How do you want to break it up? Yes, the council can give a better subject, and I'm hoping we can talk about that maybe tonight a little bit to bring it more in line, because each one of these is pretty broad.
Well, yeah, like.
Broad subject. A cemetery is a pretty broad subject.
It is, and I'm looking at parks, trails, and recreation,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, they could go right back in and say, we should put trails on people's property, and the council has said, we don't want to put trails on people's property. So why ask the question? Because,
Well, I think some of it is you're asking the question, do they want more trails in the city? Do they want more enemies or enemies? No, we don't want any more enemies. Do we want more things at the park? Do we want
That's
more
a
pickleball courts? Do
Freudian
we want more
Amenities.
playgrounds?
Yes, yes.
All those different things
or
at the
are
park.
basketball courts.
Or
still a
basketball
thing?
courts.
Right.
Or are, or is there something, is
So-
there?
So all the companies, going through them, they all have their own approach, not necessarily, but there's a lot of similarities in all of those. And as you kind of go through that, just looking at the scores, somebody may have looking at their references, scored everything, yet when they scored their scope of work, it may be a lot lower because it didn't match up to all the, things that they were expecting. And so each one of the companies, has a chance to call and talk to and go through and ask questions. That's what I have been doing. I haven't got all of them back yet. I haven't got, but I kind of limited it down to the top 5, 6, and the price range for those ones there. In between that. And then after we can get the questions and all those kind of things, I could probably have it a lot better.
He's
But I
saying
also would like to get started.
without another 2-week
Yeah.
delay.
I was
is
hoping I could
close.
get a lot of it
just needs
back.
a couple more days to ask a couple more questions,
Yeah.
basically, and then we could, if council can approve something, within a range that are comfortable with, and that he can allow him to make that decision within a few more days, then it avoids another 2-week delay.
Yeah, and
to
there's
get
things,
started,
some of
so.
them, you go through it, they aren't mailing out postcards. One of them is,
So-
or 2 of them are, which I think is a really good thing. And so
Is
there's
there-
costs for
are there
those and there's
specific
us.
subjects that we're,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aaron.
there are 5 subjects that, when we put the RFP together, that we wanted to talk. You want your survey to be about no longer than 15 minutes, because once you go past that point,
Right.
You
People
don't
are
get,
checked
you don't
out.
get
don't get your
responses.
Too long.
answers, you don't get
Yeah.
anybody back with you. So there's a lot, honestly, there's a lot to it as you're going through it and you're
Trying to make
reading all
them
those things.
unbiased.
And being,
Right.
yeah, very much. I mean, there are some that are in Utah and there are some that are out of state. And so there's just a lot of moving parts to
And then
this.
this survey is going to be used as part of our general plan, so we're not duplicating that.
Well, the general
right?
plan has its own open houses and its own, all those things going on too. And has a survey part of it, where they're calling for, public input and stuff like that. So I think we'll have less general plan questions and we're gonna have more citywide questions.
Sure, future.
As
future
where,
thinking.
where do we see, envision of the city going? All those kind of things that will just help us get information.
Well, other than, I mean, there's only 2 items on here that really wouldn't be germane to a general plan. I mean, election process and emergency services, which would probably be included even in a small way in there. But the concern that I've had and the concern that I want to address is the fear of bias when it comes to questions about how we ask questions. Are there things in the question that may or may not have biased? And the answer is really, truly, there isn't a way to ask questions without some bias in it. So in what ways are we going to do the very best to get the question out and get the answer back that we can then wrestle with and say,
Are they going to be attempting to survey every household?
So all of them have said that they would send out notification to as many households they could in Fruit Heights. Whether that's just taking the utility billings and using those address, buying the election item that they can buy for those
yeah,
that
the
are.
data,
There's some different options that are available, which are,
In a
once again, they come to
smaller
a
city,
cost.
In larger cities, they would not send to every household, they would take
Yeah,
a
no,
sample
they
size.
wouldn't.
In smaller, a city our size, I think it is not without precedent to ask a company to send to every
Yeah,
household.
and
There's
that's
fewer than
part of
2,000
it,
households,
just to hit the matrix that we're required. You end up sending it out to a lot of people to meet those, different matrix. And you may send it out and you may be short, and so you send out a second reminder saying, hey, we need responses, and then you send them out. And then making sure that,
And
it requires, you're a Fruit Heights City resident or a property owner. So there's just a lot, and
we want to do some some prep work to the community via the Ridge Runner, via Facebook.
I'm actually in the
via
Red
Notify
Runner
Me
this
to, like,
time,
kinda
going to
say,
put out that a
watch
survey
for
will be
this.
coming.
Yeah.
Be aware, because I
So that-
want people to start thinking about that. And so we're gonna have it in the Red Runner this month, and we'll have it in the Ridge Runner next month, and hopefully throughout
And up-
September
and all the
and
other
October, we will
channels.
be pushing out a lot of information for people
Encourage,
to
yeah,
be
people
involved.
to answer it.
So I guess what I'm really asking is for the council to approve an amount, not to go above. So I can finish the research and then hire somebody, is what I'm trying to do, so we can continue to move forward.
Could you, if we did something like that, can we also add that we would like, I don't know if it works for you to call the council members and tell them I've decided to award the bid to blah, blah, blah?
Oh, yeah, I would definitely would.
Because I know
And I will tell you why.
We've done that in the past, is to put kind of that kind of constraint. I don't feel like that's a crossing a line of an open and public meeting, because if we're gonna spend this amount of money and we approve that tonight, I think it's just the.
Oh, yeah, I definitely would. Like I said, there's a lot of questions that I put out. I'm waiting for the answers to come back, or they may have a question back to me, and going back to them. It's turned into a
Game.
lot bigger.
Telephone game.
I was hoping, everybody'd score it and we'd have one big,
Clear
yep,
winner.
this is the person, and, the scores would show that. But the scores were very tight and through the whole thing for just this company or this company, and it was just a lot more challenging than I thought. So then we started asking questions. Okay, I got this question, this question, this question. And so I'm trying to take that opportunity to get those questions. Honestly, I did not feel comfortable tonight to say, this is what I really think we should do. I really didn't, because I just don't have the information.
But at the same time, you don't need 2 more weeks either. You're
Yeah,
like, "Great, we're so
the second
close,"
part
you know,
is we
so
want to
close.
get a
Let's
decision,
yeah,
and so
let's
we
get
can
it going.
start moving forward and getting things working. The second part of that is, I was hoping, maybe there are some questions the council had to narrow it down. Now, it's not asking the question, but it's narrowing the topic down to just a
More
little bit
specific.
tonight. And so that would be part of that. Just saying,
Sure.
on this one, maybe we want to know this, or that I can also put in there. All the companies, will be responsible for the questions. That's their
Specialty, that's right.
expertise.
Yeah.
And.
Yeah, we do
they
not
figure-
write the questions ourselves.
Yeah.
No.
And so that's their expertise.
hiring them.
But they all said, that narrowing the subjects down a little bit. Because they are pretty broad, I will tell you that, they are pretty broad, but just kind of narrowing down. And if there's really not a lot of questions about the general plan, because we're going through that process, then we use those questions on the others.
Sure.
Because we can narrow it down and say, okay, maybe we want 6 questions here, 5 questions here, 4 questions here, and just kind of narrow it down to that to keep it to the 25 to 30 questions is what they're saying. Every one of them's pretty much saying that's the max. You don't know no more than 30 questions, because, and then also along with that, they want to make sure your questions, if you have a big open-end question, it's going to take a lot longer for people to answer that. So you want to make sure you're trying to keep the questions pretty straightforward.
So the amount you're asking for is something less than 14,000?
15.
That's the max. The max one that, out of that
Top
group
5 or
was,
top-
yeah,
yeah.
was
So you feel like
14.
you can get a really good survey done for something $14,000 or less?
Yes.
And the delta between the low bidder and that 14 was only $2,400. So this isn't a
Very
question
close.
necessarily of a huge amount of money. It just might be which
I-
one is
I will
going to
tell-
meet
I
the
will
needs
tell you
of the
that-
community best.
The bids came in from, about 11.5, I believe, to 62,000.
Yeah. That was an
So,
outlier.
so
but-
there's a huge range there.
62,000.
And
Our
even
population
on the
6,000
RFP, I gave them, this is the budget.
Yeah.
And so, we really looked at the ones that looked at the RFP and said, yes, I can do it within the budget.
Now, if we were to say yes and allocate that funding, could we get a report on it at the next meeting, a short report of who?
Well, yeah, so, once I make that decision, I would actually just let everybody know.
But
I would
for
just
the
call it-
public, can
Yep,
we
and
have a
then
little?
on the next one, I
course.
just report, this is the company we went with at the
Right.
next meeting. So.
So you need us to answer a few questions about specific questions.
Yeah, the topic,
Or just like more narrow topics.
just
rather
just
than
kind of on the
I mean,
topic,
we
what
could-
kind of questions for the park? I mean, you want to see more playgrounds? Do you want to see baseball diamonds? Do you want to, do you want to see more parks?
Sure.
I mean, those kind of things.
What would you like to see?
Trails. Yeah.
Trails,
What,
too.
what would you like to, I mean, that narrows it down really good. What would you like to see with your parks?
Sure.
Where do you see the, emergency services? First of all, are we happy with our emergency services? I mean, I think that's important. Is the community happy with the emergency services we're using? Do we need to look? Do we need to, because they've increased.
This might be a terribly dangerous question to ask, but I would like a question about how the public feels about their elected officials.
You can do that in the middle of the.
Maybe not so super specific, but I would like to see if people are
Well, you
feeling
do
confident.
that, election process.
Election process.
It
Yeah.
comes up in those kind of questions.
Okay.
So,
Caucus or primary.
Yeah.
We are the last city in the state to keep doing caucus.
yeah.
And
I mean, so
that's
there's
a serious,
some-
I mean, that is, I think that deserves asking. The previous
Yeah.
survey has been under some criticism from some members of the council, and this is an opportunity to
Yeah,
do
it's
that
an
again.
opportunity to ask the same question, so.
term limits, same deal.
But I just think there's just a few ideas or a few questions with those topics, and then they can take those and really research the question or research how to write a question or come up with 4 or 5 questions, so,
Great.
okay.
Thank you, Darren. Okay, now 6.6, letter for the fifth local option sales tax support. Okay, this one is a topic that is out there in our county right now. I'm going to see if I can explain this for the public and for your benefit, possibly for the council too. It took me a couple of meetings. Darren and I were both invited to work meetings on this where we had, smart people explaining it to us and opportunity to ask questions. So I'm going to try to bring that information here tonight to you. The question before us is whether to submit a letter. I've got a letter written of support that from our city of supporting this, the adoption of this local option sales tax by our county. It's the county that would be adopting this, not our city. Just to be clear, counties are authorized by the state legislature to adopt this local option sales tax. Just from a high level view, okay, sales taxes are collected by the state, as we know, and then distributed out to cities and counties based on a formula that involves half of it being based on the point of sale where the sales tax was collected and half of it being awarded based on population of your city. And so we don't get a whole lot from point of sale, obviously, although it's always brought up, Amazon purchases count, but population, we're also small. So but that's a longer discussion. That's how sales taxes are divided. Local option sales taxes are options that are authorized, the legislature authorizes counties to adopt or enact that a certain percentage, and that money will stay in that locality, in that county. And it's in most cases, it's divided up in some fashion between county and cities. This started many years ago with the first quarter, a second quarter, a third quarter, and a fourth quarter. Quarter, meaning it's a quarter of 1% is the amount of that sales tax. Okay, so these are always focused on supporting transit or transportation funding in the locality, in the case of local option sales tax, in the county where they're adopted. Whether that's distributed to use the money for from the county level for transit or transportation projects, or distributed back to individual cities for their transportation or transit needs. Those first 4 quarters are all focused on transit or transportation in some fashion and divided up, and those are already enacted. Those are already part of the sales taxes that we pay. And to be clear, because it was asked of me earlier, this does not apply to purchases of food, gasoline, or of real estate. So those three things, sales taxes do not apply to those three things. So we're not talking about groceries or gas or selling your house in this case, but other goods and services where sales tax does apply, okay? So the fifth is the one currently before us now, and it's called the fifth because it's 1/5%, 0.20.
So this document says Weber County, but it's, for Davis County, it's the equivalent?
I'll mention that, it's the same, yeah, it's the same. So this is a document from off of the website of Wasatch Front Regional Council that's explanatory. Anybody can pull this up if you search for it at home too, but it's here. And I'm going to try to explain this. The fifth is called such, as I said, because it's a fifth, it's not a quarter, it's 20 or 0.20%. And so just right off the bat, I'll say in dollar amounts, in terms of how much that adds to a purchase, that equates to 2 cents on a $10 purchase, or 20 cents on a $100 purchase. You can do the math going up. It's not very much, but it is, and to, let's see, can you go past the text? Do you have the next one where it's a little bit more visual for this?
So just to be clear, it's not just purchases inside of Fruit Heights City, it's purchases anywhere in the county?
Throughout the county, correct, throughout the county. This would apply throughout Davis County. So the 20% would be divided up between cities and counties in this fashion. So 0.05% would come to cities, okay? Now that would come directly to us. It's not something we have to apply for or bid for against other cities in our county. So that, for Fruit Heights and for any city, that's a plus, right? It comes straight to us. And in dollar terms, it's estimated where things are right now, that's about $44,000 a year that would come to our city that we would be able to use toward our roads, sidewalks, trails, transportation, broadly defined, okay? Going down to the bottom there, the 0.05 would go to the county to be used for transportation and or public safety. So the county could use that on transportation or transit things. Transit meaning buses, bus service or trains or trams and things like that. That's transit, right? And transportation includes roads, bridges, sidewalks, trails, all those things. And that would go to the county for use from their level, right? Okay, so then that takes care of half of it. So then the middle box there, the 0.10%, that's where this is where we're talking about why this has suddenly come up right now for Davis County. So it's interesting. I hope I explained this correctly. The legislature built a timeline into this bill, and there was a timeline that would be triggered at a point when a certain number of counties had adopted this tax, okay? Weber County just recently adopted this tax, and they were the one that put it over that threshold and triggered a 3-year time clock, if you want to say it that way, okay? So they made it so this number of counties have now adopted it. Now there's a time clock, 3 years from the time when, in this case, Weber County adopted that tax. For 3 years, the legislature will allow counties to use that middle 0.10% as so that goes from till October 2029 for any purpose determined by the county commissioners. So that goes way beyond public safety or transit or anything else. For any purpose they determine for 3 years, the legislature says for 3 years you can use it at your discretion. And after which, so then you see it split again there on the diagram, after that point, which is now going to be October 2029, that middle 10% will be divided this way. And it will go, the top one says 0.05 to transit, again, within the county. All of this stays within the county, determined by the county legislative body for transit. And the other 0.05 goes to the TTIF commuter rail subaccount, which I believe, I hope I'm not mistaken saying this, I think that's aimed at front-runner updates. With the Olympics coming, there is a push and a hope and work toward getting the front runner basically twice as efficient, twice as many rides, twice as often as it is now, and that involves double tracking along several places, so that's an expensive project. Part of that lies within our county. This money, some of that money here, this 0.05 would, after 3 years, go into a sub-account toward that. So the reason this is up right now is because the time clock has started. Davis County is saying, hey, if we act now, we can use 3 years worth of this revenue on anything that at our discretion, and we have some needs we'd like to use it on. The ones that were enumerated to us in meetings included county jail expansion and updates. Correct me if I'm wrong, Darren, from what you recall. Jail and the Justice Center and housing for county employees there, attorneys, and others associated with that work. Remind me if I'm missing anything on that list. There's some projects that they wanted. I don't know if animal shelter fits under that. She mentioned earlier they are going to be asking for funds, but
I have a question.
that equals, yes, just 1 second. That equals, that portion in numbers is estimated at, pull it off this paper, I think 8 million. That 0.10% that would go to the county and be discretionary for 3 years, and then thereafter be divided in those other 2 ways. So it's a significant amount. What's your question, David?
So Commissioner Kamalu was here at the beginning of the meeting, but she didn't say specifically about this issue. Are we aware if our county commissioners are in support of this effort, and we're trying to show our support for them? I'm just curious what the purpose of this is.
The county commissioners would they would like to, of course, take advantage of this opportunity because obviously it represents an income stream that is that does not require property tax raising in order to accomplish some major projects for residents. We all use law enforcement and justice and all the other things, right? The other options to pay for that would be the property tax raise. So they would like to use it, but they would also like to feel supported and feel buy-in and feel that residents are okay with that.
Okay.
So just to highlight a little bit here, factors that go into this. Property tax, sales tax, income tax, we're not really talking about that one right now, but these taxes work differently. A property tax hits only the people who live and own property here, and which means only residents of Davis County. And of course, we all are aware that property tax just occurred recently within our county. A sales tax is different than that, right? It captures sales. So anyone visiting from outside the county, purchasing something, staying in a hotel, buying anything, buying a ticket to Lagoon or whatever. We have thousands and thousands of visitors to our county every year because of the many cool things we've got here. Cherry Hill, I'll say. And those from outside the county, then you're harnessing that income stream from expenditures that others make and not just placing it on residents with property taxes. So that is advantageous to us. Of course, as Davis County residents, we also travel to Weber County and Morgan County and Cache County, all these other, we're paying this tax in their counties. And so, they can, this allows them to pay it in our county when they come and support our own transportation needs and other various needs that this might be spent on. So it harnesses that, and it doesn't fall as heavy on just our residents. You're accessing a revenue stream that is far more diversified, far more, from outside the county and things like that. And that doesn't require, you can accomplish some things for residents without having to levy or increase the property tax that's on their property right now. I know that none of us, generally speaking, are like, yay, more taxes, I don't relish that at all. But the reality is we have a community, we have growing community needs, and things do cost more money all the time, and these are services that benefit us all. Fire and police and the other things that, safety, jail, things like that. Do we want to say, oh, no, let's not do this and let's just keep our jail, in a place where it's going to be under functioning, and then they don't have room to keep whoever they've got to just release, whoever it is into the community, and that's not probably a situation. We want to keep up with what the needs are for safety and for public needs, and that's where this can be advantageous without as heavy a burden as a property tax increase feels often to many people.
Mayor?
So I've tried to explain that as best I can. It's a little complex, I know, but yeah.
I think some of that I understood was that the county commissioners wanted the cities to support it because they're also getting money from this before they said, yeah, we're 100% in support of this. If the cities aren't in support of this, I would bet they will not do it. But if the cities are in support of this and want to continue to move forward, this is what that is saying, is that Fruit Heights is in support of this and having it move forward. It's just, that's kind of the understanding I had from the meetings that I was in.
Yeah.
On this portion of it.
Yeah.
And there is a lot to this. It takes a little bit to kind of go through it and get it. And there was always a lot of questions when we went through it. But yeah, it's just one of those items that.
When does the county commission plan to vote on this? Do you know?
I think they're going to have probably another work session.
I don't, to my knowledge, they don't have a vote scheduled right now.
Yeah, they don't have one voted. Their comment is if the cities are willing to support this and say they're willing to support this, then we will really take a hard look at it and move that way. If the cities aren't supporting it, they don't, even though they may want it, they don't know what they'll do. So that's my understanding from the meetings I was in, so.
Thank you.
And as far as visitors to our county, as I mentioned, we do have Cherry Hill, and of course, and sometimes we have events that come through. In the past, we've had the bike ride. What was that one called? Anyway, when visitors come through from other counties, they're using our roads and our trails and our infrastructure and things. So it makes some sense that we access sharing that load of money that can help maintain those that infrastructure that's being paid for by some of their spending dollars as well as our own. Of course, it includes us too. We're not exempt from it. We live and shop here as well. Let's see what other. I think that's about as complete explanation as I can offer. Are there thoughts from the council on supporting or not supporting or further questions about this tax before we
So
vote?
what we'd be voting on is sending a letter to our county saying Fruit Heights is in support of this, or Fruit Heights is remaining silent. Or would we, if we were not in support of this, do you send a letter, or do you? Yeah.
What's that, Eileen?
So another choice is to table it for 2 weeks. It only got on our agenda yesterday afternoon, and I think a lot of people were not aware it's there. We've had a lot of information saying why we should do it. I haven't heard cons, and I'd like to have the opportunity to have more discussion.
That's what this time is for. This is for discussion.
Well, I can think of some
I mean,
cons right now.
discussion outside of our city council meeting with members of the community and with the county commissioners. I mean, we've represented what they're saying, but I'd like to discuss it with them.
Do you have a, did WFRC or anyone else, have they asked for a timeline on getting a recommendation letter?
I think just as soon as may be, just because the timeline I described, the time clock, that has started, that the county is looking at, is ticking ever since we were,
Ever since
enacted
Weber
that,
voted
yeah.
to say yes.
Yeah, so the longer we delay just means like the less window of opportunity there is to capture that revenue and use it for the benefit of our county and our residents. So, yeah, there's no deadline imposed or asked of us other than that I know of. It's just that's the reality that's there. There is a clock that's ticking on that of opportunity, so. Gary, you have some thoughts on this?
I have no problem with tabling it and hearing, it's, we don't know everything. It's nice to hear just what other people might have against it, or, hear some differing opinions, just and bring it back in 2 weeks.
David, you have thoughts?
No more questions.
Okay. Blake, anything?
I'm just a
Okay.
little bit concerned about the framing of it being that this is better than a different type of tax because we don't have to go through a truth in taxation potentially.
That's a good point.
I don't think that, and the timeline there of 3 years where the county commission is able to make decisions with it that could potentially be funding that goes almost anywhere. I don't feel like that is to my mind, I don't love the idea that we don't have a specificity on that use, rather than that there would be a timeline that would then be used for transportation. With that being said, I do support making sure that our transportation is safe and that we are prepared for the Olympics and that we have those things in place. I would also prefer to have a little bit of time to dig into this. It's not, if you say that on $10 this is 2 cents, that really is not something that I think most of us would just say, well, okay. But whenever we're talking about taxes, I think that we need to have a little bit more data to bring to our neighbors and to the residents that we represent. Even though this isn't a vote on saying yes to that tax. This is a vote on supporting or not supporting, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable.
Okay.
I'm a little uncomfortable with that.
So the county, I've not been onto the county website about this only because I've been in the meetings anyway, so I feel like I've received some information. They'll I'm sure have resources to bring out further things to maybe that would elucidate better than I have whatever those things are that they would be wanting to utilize these resources for in our county. As I say, the ones that I've mentioned here were mentioned in the meetings I was in. It may or may not be a complete list of what the needs are and that this money could be utilized for. So that's further information that could be obtained, I'm sure. Well, I guess maybe that's all I need to say about that. Is there, before moving to the next, is that everything that everyone, is there anything else you want to mention? I think we've gone down the row, so thank you very much. If Commissioner Kamalu were still here, she could probably answer some of that, but that's all right. Action items, we'll go to 7.1.
We've already taken care of that one.
Yeah, we've taken care of that one. We're going to move past that, and thank you, council, for taking care of that one. 7.2.
Make a motion to table the LRB cemetery financial proposal.
I'll second that.
A motion from Eileen and a second from Gary on tabling the LRB proposal for now. Is there a discussion on that before voting? Okay. All in favor of that motion, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. That motion passes 4-0. That item will be tabled, be revisited perhaps later, a later date. 7.3, purchase of telemetry SCADA system
Make a motion.
upgrade.
To award the bid to M8 Automation for a total amount of $75,202.
Second.
A motion from Eileen and a second from Blake. Any further questions or discussions there?
Yeah, I wanna just discuss one quick thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lane, maybe in your conversations with them, if you can just see how much additional capacity they have to add, to be just a little bit more, just to be flexible, just to make sure that we're flexible. Like, I know that you've already kind of checked that, but just,
How much more weight can this
So-
trailer hold than what you have?
Oh, no, this
This
one's
is
the
SCADA.
no,
SCADA.
this is
Oh,
the
This is the
SCADA
SCADA thing. Yeah,
So,
sorry.
all I'm saying is,
Moving on.
if we need to add a little bit of money to make it a little bit more flexible for future needs, maybe you come back to the council for a little bit additional, if that's needed, if you deem that's needed. I think 15-20% would be completely adequate.
So I'm more than happy to go to him, but with the conversations I've had with him, this system's flexible. We can add, and I mean, yeah, it's gonna cost us to add, put on, I mean, it's gonna be more
Yeah.
wiring, more computers, more all that, but
I recognize that this is maybe a moot point, and I'm completely supportive of this bid. I'm backing it 100%. I'm just saying that if you find that for some reason we need some more, just a little bit more money to make it a little better, but it sounds like it's already taken care of.
yeah, but I can ask him, I can talk to him.
I'm just asking you to
Be real comfortable.
just be,
Yep.
yeah, just ask one more question. And
Gary,
if-
do you mind if I ask what the concern, is this about compatibility going forward, that we might have a system that is closed?
It's not compatibility, it's future needs, that if we expand or we do something,
build a
have
new water
an
tank.
additional pump. So just my background, I have to, in my line of work, I have to get my equipment to, I'm not the guy that does it, but I'm the manager that has to get people to do it. And I have run out of space. And it's horrible because it's super cheap at this phase to put in extra space. And so I know that it's probably there, but it's so cheap right now. I want you to just ask the question.
Yeah,
And if we need to add a little bit more money later, it'd be awesome to do it now.
yeah,
So,
I'll ask him, I'll talk to him tomorrow.
okay.
Thanks, Gary. Good thoughts. Further, did I hear something down here?
We had a motion, did we get a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was you.
You were the second.
I was a second, sorry. I was about to second it again. I'm just like, I second this motion, then we move forward.
I have a motion from Eileen, a second from Blake, and a second from Mike.
I think there's a third at that point now, so.
All in favor of this motion, please say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Council, 7.4, purchase of public works trailer replacement.
Motion to purchase Public Works trailer replacement
Second.
The motion from Rawmax.
from Rawmax Trailers for $18,148.
Second. Oh,
I already have a second from
no,
David,
I already-
David already
got
did
it.
so
we all seconded.
beat you to the punch. So I have a motion from Gary, a second from David. Is there any further question or discussion on this item? Okay. All in favor of this motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, council. And we'll go turn the page over. 7.5, award bid for citywide survey. In this case, not awarding a bid, but do I have a motion for what was described earlier to approve an amount
Motion
for
to
Darren?
motion to appropriate $14,000 for a citywide survey.
It's already appropriated. So
Motion to approve.
award?
Approve.
Is that sufficient
Approve.
language-wise?
Approve is good.
You got that?
Motion to approve award for $14,000 for a citywide
I have a
survey.
motion from Blake. Do I have a second there?
Second.
I have a second from David. Thank you. Is there further discussion or question on this or comment? Okay. All in favor of this motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Any
Yes.
opposed, say no.
No.
Motion passes by a 3-1 vote. Gary voting against, other 3 voting in favor. Thank you, council, that passes. 7.6, a letter for fifth local option sales tax support. I should say letter to the county, I guess, but do I have a motion on this?
To table a letter for the fifth local option sales tax support.
I have a motion from Eileen to table. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
The second from Gary. Is there further comment, discussion, or question on this item?
Is there, are there more, I read through all of the links that we had, but I still had questions about this. Is there I'll reach out to Commissioner Kamalu as well, but I'd like to just get, if you know of any better, or other sources of information that I can reach out to.
Commissioner Croft is hosting a information thing on this Thursday night from 6 to 8 somewhere.
Okay.
At the old courthouse in Farmington, second floor. So, yes, Commissioner Crofts, I've just read the same announcement you have probably, but the comptroller, Scott, I'm trying to think of his last
Fletcher.
name. What's his name?
Fletcher?
Scott
Is
Fletcher.
that right? Will be a part of that too, so may have some good information to share. I don't know. That will be like, I plan to attend it as well. But yeah, that's one public forum there. Council members can reach out also to commissioners if they would like. I can share, of course, Commissioner Kamalu has shared her number with us right here. That's easy. I'm happy to share other numbers with council members if you'd like to reach out to ask questions, with commissioners, if you'd like to reach out to ask questions on that. So, anything further before we take a vote here? Okay, motion is from Eileen and second by Gary to table this for next time, pending a little bit further research. So all in favor of that motion, please say yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, please say no. That was a 4-0 vote to table that. We'll bring it back in 2 weeks. Make a note to myself. Thank you very much. Item 7.7, approve city council meeting minutes for August 4th, 2026.
Motion to approve the city council meeting minutes for August 4th, 2026.
I have a motion from Blake. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from David. Would anyone like to make sure that everyone's aware if you made any significant corrections that others might not be aware of?
Just,
Or at late stages, made any corrections others might not be aware of if they were made late?
if you look at the minutes, when you see them and your name wasn't spelled right, sorry, we tried.
There are a lot of names. No
There were-
idea
There were lots of
if they're all
names and the
spelled
handwriting
correctly.
wasn't great.
Yeah, that is very much a guessing game. So, thank you.
There is an E after Joyce Savage. may want to.
Oh, an extra E.
We're missing an E.
It's an
just a
extra,
spare
extra
E.
E by
Random
Doug
E.
Savage.
Little floating extra E there.
Floating
It's
extra
not-
E
Not a big
on
deal.
names, just.
Yeah, not a big deal. So we have a motion to adopt from Blake, a second from David. All in favor of adopting those minutes, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Minutes are adopted, 4-0. Thank you, council. All right, we do have 2 tabled items. We're pending further discussion with developers on 2 rezones, which were discussed in our previous meeting. I do not have an update on those for tonight. That is just listed under tabled items because they're still sitting on the table and waiting for that to return after aforementioned discussions. New business, number 9, new business for upcoming meeting. Anything council members would like to mention?
Could I ask on those tabled rezones, have we made any progress on those areas? Have they been, developers talked to the city about this?
So both developers are looking at different options. They're going through that right now. Once they have that put together, then they both said they would get back with the city at that time and start discussions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else under number 9 that anyone would like to mention or?
On 9? Are we on 9 now?
Yeah, we're on 9.
I have a question. A year ago, well, more than a year ago, in March and April of 2025, the Planning Commission was looking at making some significant changes to the R3 zone that Jeff had recommended, and it kind of died on the vine. And the way I feel about it right now is I don't know why we would spot zone something and into an ordinance that is got potential issues. And so I was wondering if maybe the Planning Commission could be asked if they want to reconsider what Jeff had brought up to them a year ago last March, which was, Jeff said that he felt like 25 units per acre was too much in that R3 zone. And I think it would be nice also to see larger setbacks for a 45-foot tall building. I mean, there could be a spot for a 45 tall building, but if it is, it needs to be farther away from property lines. And so I wondered if maybe we could ask the Planning Commission to look back at the discussion from a year ago and look at that R3 zone and maybe think about making a better recommendation of what would be more palatable. And again, one of my things would be, and of course I'm only one, but I'd like to discuss the trying to put something of an R3 on less than 1 acre. I could see this type of building going in many, many places in our community that would be very disruptive to neighborhoods. Somebody just takes and buys 2 lots together that are half-acre lots and puts up an apartment building. And it could happen in my neighborhood or yours. So I wish we would have the Planning Commission talk about that.
So you're asking a planning commission to re-examine the R3?
Yes.
That they already.
That they
were
already did.
discussing, Finish the conversation.
Yeah.
From March of last year?
March
Or
2025.
thereabouts, okay.
Mhm. March and April of 2025.
Is
Yeah,
that,
if
is
they're
that
gonna-
something that that the council would discuss on another meeting, or is this just a recommendation for the?
Yeah, that's not a future council item
So
necessarily.
we're asked,
That
the
would
planning
be-
commission has to make the recommendation. They're
Yeah,
alone.
that
They
would
have
be-
to originate land use. So then
Right.
they would have to have an open house or a public hearing on their changes, and then it would come to the city council. So it'd still be a ways out there, but
Yeah, that's
I
in
think
process.
it's
You're-
one of those things that has been kicked down the road for a really long time and needs to stop being kicked.
It would be nice if we could get just a little bit of now that we have a new commissioner and he'll be going through his new training and to get ready, and maybe just an opportunity to look at some of those. We've got
Our C2 has got some issues as well.
I'm not recommending that we have a complete overhaul, but I do think that it would be helpful to have a number of those ordinances looked at, make sure that we still have the appropriate maps, and if not, just general upkeep on some of that language, that would be preferable. That's it.
Just so you know, with the general plan, some of these will be looked at that time to match the new general plan as we're going through the process.
But the
Okay.
R3, I mean, our zoning in and of itself doesn't get changed with the general plan. I mean, we have, the general plan we have right now suggests different zones that are, we don't have, because even in 3 years, we haven't enacted the zones that the general plan calls out. So,
Yes, but we will be updating some of these zones
right, the
to
maps.
match what we're doing with maps and those kind of things
Right,
as we go
okay.
through this
But-
process,
But the actual zone itself also
Yeah.
needs
looking at.
looking at, and if they would continue the discussion that was started over a year ago, would be nice.
Thank you.
I got it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, council, in the, on number 9?
We had already asked the planning commission to also look at the MIH strategies and make a recommendation. I assume that that's still on their future agenda to do that.
That is, we should have some of those for the next council meeting.
I think one of the things that I think that the planning commission, as we ask them for those recommendations that is a little tricky, is the planning commission doesn't deal with the budget of the city. And so if the city, if we said one of our strategies might be that we would like to take money from, percentage or something from our property taxes and potentially supplement rent down at Orchard Farms for maybe 3 units for first responders or something like that. That's something, and I'm not sure how that works because it's not a land use thing, but does it have to come from the planning commission, or is that something the council can just say, hey, this is one of the MIH strategies that we would like to discuss? How do we go there?
So the direction from the council was to go through all of them for the planning commission. They've been doing that. They do have a list that they talked about. The ones that had to do with finance, they recognize that's a council decision. That's not a planning commission decision to say, yeah, let's take taxpayers' money and say this is a good one to do. That is actually a council one to put those ones in. So that is something that they'll bring the ones that they feel really comfortable with.
And then we can
And recommend them. You can add, or you may look at the ones they have and say, I'm not sure I like this one or this one, and throw those out too. That's part of your responsibility as a legislative body, is to be able to use city funds to fulfill those things. That's just a recommendation that will be coming from the planning commission after they've reviewed the ones they've gone through.
Thank you, Darren.
Okay, 10 calendar items. August 25th is our next, speaking of them, planning commission meeting. September 1st is the next city council meeting. We did not have a closed session planned for tonight, so I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion from Blake. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Gary. All in favor, say yes.
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 No,